is and creation of database are very essential in web development. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the whole installation of creating database, viewing database, and using those basic usage command of the database. All right, so what database are we going to be playing with? We're going to be playing with the Postgresql, which is one of the most popular database out there, used by every web developer, PHP guys, Python guys, and JavaScript guys. We all use Postgresql, and most of the hosting company out there like Railway, Renders, Linode, DigitalOcean, and the rest all uses Postgresql. So Postgresql is a very popular database, and it's also an open source database. Okay, so I'm going to walk you guys through on how to create it, view your database, and using those database basic commands to be able to walk through the whole thing. All right, so let's proceed. So I will clear the screen. Okay, so first of all, we need to install that database. All right, for we to install the database, we use the super user do command, apt. Okay, super user do apt, then we type install, then we type Postgresql. So once I hit the enter key, that's going to install Postgresql for me. So you can see that Postgresql is being installed. When Postgresql is installed, we now need to install a library that comes with Postgresql called Postgresql-contrib. Okay, so for us to install that one too, we type sudo again, okay, apt, then we say install Postgresql-contrib. Okay, so and once you hit enter, that will install. Okay, I already have that installed, so you can see that is satisfied, which means it is installed. Okay, so now that we have Postgresql and its library called Postgresql-contrib installed, it's right time we start working with it. First thing we need to do is to be sure that Postgresql is running in the system. Most times, especially if you're using Linux system, when you install Postgresql and its library, it starts automatically. Okay, because it is a program that serves, so it runs with the system this service to during boot time or during installation when it is installed. All right, so we type sudo system, okay, ctl, then we type status here to check if it's actually running. So that wasn't spelled well, so it's called status. Then we're gonna type Postgresql, the put dot service. Okay, so once I hit enter, you can see that Postgresql is running and loaded, active, right? And is also enable. This enable here means that when the computer is off and I turn it on, Postgresql is going to start automatically during boot time. All right, so all this process is well set. But in your own case, if this process is not well set, maybe it's kind of like dead. Okay, so this is what you should type. You type sudo system ctl, then you type start Postgresql dot service, and this will start the service for you. Okay, so when the service starts, I'll just press Ctrl C because mine is already running. When the service are start, then you cannot enable it, so that even though you reboot your system, Postgresql will start automatically. You do this command again, sudo system ctl, okay, ctl, you type en, which is enable. What are you trying to enable? Postgresql, just like that. Okay, and once you hit your enter key, that will be enable. So I won't be hitting my enter key because you can see it's already enabled and it's already active, right? So just these two commands. If your old is not running at the moment, once it's installed and it's not enabled, just use these two commands here to start and enable for boot time. Okay, so that is it. So now that my own is running, all I need to do right now is to switch into the PostgreSQL database dashboard. The dashboard is a terminal dashboard, it's not a graphical dashboard. So we use the sudo space -u. All right, so we can do -i, then space -u, then we type post, okay, Greece. All right, just Postgres. So we press enter. So that will take us, that will switch us into Postgres. Okay, then that was, you can see here now how my terminal look. It say Postgres at pen. Okay, so what this is like a username, a user account of PostgreSQL. We are just logged in into PostgreSQL. Now if I type who am I, for example, you will see I am PostgreSQL. So I'm into the PostgreSQL account, just the way I used to log into pen account. So now that I've logged into PostgreSQL account, I can now type this PSQL, which stands for PostgreSQL. Okay, so when I type this and just press enter, it's now going to officially log me into the PostgreSQL shell. Now you can see the shell has changed to PostgreSQL equals to hash, so it's running with root privilege, right? So within here now we can start creating our database username and password and start altering those database we have created. So if we want to create a database right now, we use everything we type. It has to be in uppercase. So I will say create, which create, what do we want to create? Database. Then we have to give the name of the database. So in my case here, so I will just give it TikTokDB, which stands for TikTok database. So I'll put semicolon at the end. The semicolon here means we have reached the end of statement. So if I hit enter, it's going to write created, database created. Okay, so we see create database. So database TikTok has been created. So now database TikTok has been created, we need to create a user. Okay, a user that will be using this TikTok database. So we use the same in uppercase, create space, what do we want to create? User. So we need to give the username, so I'll put small letter. So I'm going to call this Benzino. Okay, so let Benzino be the username. All right, so now I'm going to set it to the password that I want to give Benzino. So set and password, okay, will also be in uppercase. Then now I'm going to give the password. The password is going to be in quotes. So I'm going to say Ben12345 as the password, and close the single quote and put semicolon. So this will create this role for us. It's going to call it a role. Okay, so once I hit the enter key right here, so I'm making a little bit mistake here. Instead of set here, I'm supposed to use width. All right, it should be width. So create user database username called Benzino with password, then 123. All right, so after this we press the enter key and that creates that a role. So this become a role. Okay, a role means we have created a user login. So we have database and the user and password that is going to be logging into this database. Okay, so we can now start altering this role that we have created by giving it a UTF-8 for character encoding. Okay, by setting the default transaction isolation for read committed, and also by giving it a time zone, maybe using UTC and the rest of it. So how do we do that? We use the keyword called alter, then we type role. So what role do we want to alter? We are altering the name, the username. Okay, that is how we goes into the database and tell PostgreSQL that the role or the database we want to alter, we want to add more features to, is called Benzino. So probably there's so many databases. Okay, in my SQL, once I put the name, so the name here is called Benzino. So sorry, that wasn't spelled right. Benzino. With this name that I've put, the PostgreSQL will go to his database and look for different database with the username Benzino and start altering that particular one. So if there's other ones that is not bearing Benzino, it's not going to tamper those one, but this one that bears Benzino. So we say Benzino. So when we put it, then we want to say set Okay, so this time around we want to set client underscore and okay coding. Okay, so this client underscore encoding, you want to set it to single quote UTF-8 close single quote and semicolon. So what this is going to do is that we are trying alter the role, okay, which is a username database called Benzino, and set okay the client encoding. So whosoever that is using this database, whosoever that is using it here, the client base here means that a application maybe like PHP or Python that is trying to use this database, we want it to use UTF-8, which is a character encoding. When we type text or watch videos in our computer, actually this UTF-8 is what is used to replace text. Instead of we seeing pure binaries, this UTF-8 make numbers to become alphabet. Alright, so that is what it does. So if I hit the enter key right now, okay, that role will be altered. So we say altered role. So we have altered that role. That means we have set the encoding to UTF-8 for the database user called Benzino. Right, so we're still going to add more. So we say alter role again. So remember, the database username want to access is Benzino. Okay, so now we also want to set, okay, so this time around we want to set the default underscore transaction underscore isolation. Okay, so put space and say we want to assign this role to it. So put single quote and it's called read space committed. All right, no X, then single quote and semicolon. So this we add this read committed to this user called Benzino. So once I hit the enter key, there's no error. We should have everything, the role altered. So you can see that role has been altered. Okay, so another last one we would like to do, okay, we would like to alter the role, that same Benzino. All right, so that was in uppercase, that should be in lowercase. Then Zeno, so we want to set this time around, what we want to set is time zone. Okay, so that time zone will be in small letter, so we want to set it to UTC, okay, single quote and semicolon. So this will alter the username Benzino and apply the UTC time zone for us. So once we hit enter, so that role has been altered. So now that we are done setting up, altering everything about our database, it's time we sign this database. Signing database means that we are done with this database. It is not a full database inside the MySQL database structure. So we do it by using the grant. Okay, so that wasn't spelled nice. Well, so we say grant, we say everything this time will be in uppercase. Grant all privileges. Okay, so we put S in the privileges on database. Okay, now what is that database? Remember, it is called TikTok DB. So that is the database. You can see the name here. When we started, we created the TikTok database first. So that same name we give for the database. And then we will now at the end and say we are assigning it to the user. Remember, this is a TikTok database entirely, so they can be different users. Okay, so we are saying we are assigning it to the user. Remember, the user is called Benzino. I'll put semicolon at the end. Alright, so once we are done, we press enter and we give us output that we have signed this database. So you can see, so we say we have error there, so privileges wasn't spelled well. So I'll press Ctrl P again. Let's see where I'm making error. We say grant, okay, grant all privilege. Oh, you can see my spelling here is all to be uppercase R. Alright, sorry for that wrong spelling, it's part of the show. So once I hit enter, you can see granted, so that database has been created. Alright, so another thing, now that we have created database, we have signed it and all that, we can view the database of what we have created. How do we do it? We use an escape sequence, say /, then uppercase and then L, no uppercase, small letter L. So L here means list the database that we have created. So we should have the database TikTok. So once I hit the enter key, you can see the whole database. So I will just widen the screen a little bit, so you can see the whole database. Say we have other database, so we have name called Benzino database. The owner is Zeno. The encoding is UTF-8. The collect is UTF-8, that is on US, and we have the C type, the same thing, and the access privilege /Zeno / everything about it. Okay, you can see our Zeno here. This is everything about Zeno. You can see it, right? So let me just highlight them. You can see from here to here is everything about Benzino we have created. So other ones you are seeing here are other database for applications that I've created so far in this system. All right, so you can see the entire database. All right, so now another thing we can do is we can, since we are still in this, we can connect to this database, right? Okay, so how do we connect to this database? So these are all the old database so far. So I'll just press Q, then I come back to the Postgresql. Okay, to come out of that database, you press Q and you come out of that. So when we are out of that, we can like connect to one of those databases we have. Okay, for example, now if I press \L again to list, it lists the database. We can choose any of these database and connect, like log into it. So I want to log in into Benzino, right? I want to connect to Benzino. So let me just press Q here and come back to this normal PostgreSQL shell. So I will just type \C, that stands for connect. Then the name of the database I want to connect to, remember, is called tick. It's called what? TikTok. Okay, that's the name of the database. So TikTok DB. So that is the database I want to access. So when I hit the enter key, you say you are now connected to database called TikTok as user PostgreSQL. You can see the prompt has changed to what? TikTok database. All right, so here we can like start doing like viewing tables if you have any tables and so on. So we can view tables by typing \BT. Not DT, it's called BT. And once we hit the enter key, you see did not find any relation because we have not created any table here. All right, so you can start creating table by using the create table user, the set ID, primary key user, and the rest of it. All right, so let us create a table. Why not? So we use the uppercase create again space, we say table, right? Okay, so we put space again, then the users. Okay, we want to say the users. Okay, so let's say users, the users here, and we put open bracket. Okay, so I will pass in ID, which is an argument, with serial primary key. Okay, serial primary key. Then we'll put a comma there for one. So we want to say username. All right, voucher. Okay, and we want to set that to, let's say, 100. Okay, we put another comma and we want to say email. Okay, voucher, and we also set that to 100. Okay, so once we are done with that, we want to close this again and put semicolon. So this will create table users for us. So I will just press enter. You can see table created. Okay, so now that I've created that table, we can start inserting into that table called users. So we use the insert here, then we say insert in uppercase into users. Okay, so users, put space, open bracket. We want to say, we want to access the role of username and mail, right? And we'll put close bracket. Okay, when we do that, we now press enter. Okay, yeah, let's say we press enter, and that set that for us. Then we can now set values. So we say open bracket. So values will not based on those username and email. So we can say, I will say here I want the username to be let's say moneyman. It's going to be in single quote. I will say moneyman, close the single quote, and I'll put comma. That's for moneyman. Then I'll put moneyman email. So I will say moneyman@gmail.com. so close that and close the bracket and put semicolon, which becomes the end of this statement. So we have set that value. You can see insert row 01. Okay, now that we have done that, we can now view this data of this user. So we can say select. We can say select in uppercase, then we'll put asterisk, which means match all things from the users. So once I hit, I'll put the semicolon there. Once I hit enter, and that will just show us everything that we have created. You can see we have username moneyman and the email moneyman. So that is the one row we have created. We can create more stuff, more usernames and all that, okay, in this database. All right, so this is literally how we use the Postgresql. You can create it. When you create stuff like this, your application can start make use or reading data or writing to it. All right, okay, so when we are done doing everything we want to do, how do we quit out of this? We press \Q, and that will quit us out of the database. So we are back to the Postgresql normal terminal, which is the normal login. Remember, if I type who am I, it's going to tell me that I am Postgresql. So once we are here, how do we now go back to our normal terminal? We just type the exit command. I'll press enter. We are logged out of that Postgresql. So if I clear the screen, so who am I right now will now be Ben. All right, okay, so this was so awesome, and this is powerful, and these are stuff you need to know. All right, because if you don't know how to use Postgresql, when you start making use of Python, Django for web application, you won't be able to use this kind of data, because Postgres database is more powerful than MySQL. All right, so this is all I have for you guys in this video, and I would really like to hear your comments, your thoughts on the comment. What database do you use? Do you use MySQL? Do you use Oracle database? Do you use Postgresql like the one I just used right now? So please put your thoughts on the comment section. I'll be waiting for your thoughts. So see you guys on the comment section, and have a nice day. Bye.